On Taste of Anime Afterthought, Dr. Stone, Season 2, Episode 2, Hotline. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how badass the new opening song is? I mean, Paradise by Fuji Fabric kills it. This is the definition of a banger. I was discussing last week in the comments, I don't even know how to describe the genre. It's just this good vibe, head nodding, new age, funk, soft melody. Like, I just don't, it has such a good vibe to it. Honestly, I've been listening on repeat for a while now. Anyways, so Operation Smartphone is officially a go. Homura has fallen victim to the deer bladder explosion decoy, and Team Smartphone, comprising of Crone, Magma, and Gen, are heading to the rendezvous point to meet Taiju and Yuzuriha. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. Although she fell into a Senku trap, our pink-haired gymnast is one badass motherfucker, never giving up the pursuit once, even after almost being beheaded by Kuhaku and falling for Senku's tricks not once but twice. I mean, it's gonna take more than your average person to do a roll count of Ishigami Village after having your eyes roasted out by a makeshift flare. Yes, one of the new inventions coming from the Kingdom of Science is a flare. In one badass display of animation, dynamics, and choreography, Senku finds the most opportune time to launch his makeshift flare into the air, thus exuding a bright, blinding light. And I have to say, when they actually did the workaround of how to make this, it's a lot easier than I expected. I mean, boil down some seawater to get bitter in, zap it with some electricity, and you've got magnesium. Add that to your typical light bulb, and boom, you got a flare. Oh, and by the way, if you were interested in that print Gaku that he decided to name drop at the end of this little roadmap, I went ahead and Googled it for you. Basically, it's a form of screen printing. This one utilizing the process of etching the image onto the silk screen using flash bulbs, you know, the old-timey ones that explode upon use. Now, we all know Senku is smart, but I definitely wouldn't describe him as strong. For when it looks like Homiya is finally captured, she is easily able to kick Senku off her back. And after going through the Ishigami roster, she notices that 3 vital people are missing: Chrome, Magma, and of course, Gen. She is quick to deduce that there is only one reason they would need the illusionist, for he knows how to get to Shishio. And once again, her pursuit begins. But of course, Senku has planned for this possibility as well. He wasn't merely trying to detain Homura, no, he was in fact installing a failsafe. If she were to escape, he needed a way to track her, thus introducing the next Kingdom of Science invention, the blacklight. Mix some nickel and barium with some glass, and you have a blacklight. And luckily, they already had the perfect tracking substance, and it's all thanks to Sweet Suika, the finder of the rare mineral known as tungsten, whose property is to glow at ultraviolet lights. So now that they have a way to track her, a team in the front and the team in behind, it's only a matter of time before they can initiate their pincer attack. If only they had a way to communicate with each other. Oh wait, they do. I gotta say that they're so fucking lucky that both Senku and Gen know Morse code. Now, even though Homura caught on to the fact that she's being tracked, she's unaware of anyone's true intentions. When she came upon Team Smartphone, she was shocked to realize what was going on. They in fact had a means of communication. It is now or never. She needs to take this opportunity to destroy it before they can enact any kind of plan. But of course, our group knew well aware that Homura was on their path. Gen, once again showing off his master manipulation skills, decides to pull a bait and switch, this time tricking Homura using a wooden prop antenna as a decoy. But with this being the thing that could turn the tide of any battle, its destruction is a necessity. I have to say, the look on her face when she finally got to the top of the tree and saw it was a fake was absolutely priceless. And it was only a matter of seconds before you hear timber as Magna and Kinro decide to chop down the giant tree. But of course, the goal of this war is to be a bloodless battle. So with Kuhaku performing a mid-air grapple, Homura lands safe and sound, albeit captured. And thus the two groups once again part ways. Now I have to say, the next sequence is kind of awe-inspiring. Our group once again comes across a pile of these petrified humans, each one emboldened with a number, representing when they will be resurrected. The thought of Shishio expanding his army is truly frightening, one that Magma has a clear-cut decision to make, like, hey, I'm just gonna smash these, or at least break off some limbs so they're unable to fight, even if he does try to unpetrify them. A logical choice, but certainly an immoral one that Gen cannot stand idly by and witness. No, he takes a full-on frontal assault of Magma's swing, stopping what would literally be an act of murder. Although he does question himself and his decision, at this point, these aren't villains. These are innocent people. Luckily, Chrome is there to be everyone's conscience. Remember, this is something that Shishio has done. We've literally seen him kill people. We need to be better. We can be better. Don't lower yourselves to Shishio. Truer words are never spoken. The point of the Kingdom of Science is a free world, truly resurrected. What's the point of winning this war if you lose yourself in the process? Now, eventually, Team Smartphone makes its way to the rendezvous point. It just happens to be the grave marker left behind by Taiju and Yuzuriha, representing Senku's grave marker. Now, at that point, it was unknown that Senku had survived, so they were merely just playing their part. But once again, we get to see Senku's forethought. He was actually telling them to visit it often, so it wouldn't make anyone suspicious when those two leave to go visit their dearly departed friend, which makes it a perfect place for a handoff. Simple, right? Just bury this stuff and wait for Taiju and Yuzuriha to come pick it up. But of course, when you have a muscle lug whose only strength is his actual strength part of your group, that's easier said than done. Instead of digging around a simple stone, Magma decides to smash it, a sound that echoes throughout the Kingdom of Might. And it just so happens at that time, someone was listening. Not to say the archer's design is super badass, and the look on Gen's face when he gets that arrow in his bag, like that was fucking hilarious. But you know what? Their task is completed. It's time to dip. And then wrapping up this episode, we finally have Taiju and Yuzuriha make their return. They found it using Taiju's pure fucking muscle, who just punches goddamn hole in the ground to pick that shit up, and just the relief they must feel hearing each other's voices for such a long time. It's been a while. I mean, shit, especially on the Senku side, like, he didn't know if Taiju and Yuzuriha would be okay. Like I said, I fucking love this series. We got several badass inventions today, a lot of, mental manipulation going on, a lot of tricks, a lot of traps. We had some very badass moments. The whole scene with Kuhaku in chase with Homura, I love the choreography. I love the dynamic. Even like the camera angles were badass. And we made a huge step forwards. Now they have a means of communication from inside the Kingdom of Might. Let's just hope things go according to plan, but seeing how it's an anime and that would be fucking boring, it's not, but I'm pretty sure Senku has a backup. So with all that being said and more Dr. Stone next week, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.